Who's the best former Viking safety who's going to sign with the division rival? Jayron. Just waking up this morning, Jayron Kearse is now former Minnesota Vikings safety Jayron Kearse as he signs with the Detroit Lions, 1 year, $2.75 million deal. Nailed it. First reported by our own Tom Pelissero. And it's not great. Jayron is a very emotional guy, as well as he will hold a grudge. And I think that 100% the fact that the Vikings are in the division as the Lions, same division, blah, 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 get to play twice a year. And Jayron gets to show Vikings fans and the Viking staff, and especially Mike Zimmer, what they're missing out on. Makes sense. Well, that is if the Vikings don't play the Lions during Jayron's suspension, which is definitely coming up. But yeah. Recapping on Jayron, 2016 7th-round pick out of Clemson. I remember coming in at 6'4", 216, long arms, long, lanky defensive back, and there was a lot of raw physical ability to work with back there. Ended up making the 53-man roster, played a lot of special teams his first 2 seasons, and then came 2018. Or generally, with you have a late-round draft pick or UDFA, you usually get about 2 years, 2 full years of training camps and preseasons that if they don't pop, usually they're moved on from. So for 2018, I don't think I was alone when I left Jayron for dead. I was like, okay, he isn't really getting it. And I don't know if there's actually going to be a role for him. Plus, you had the legendary Harrison Smith. Anthony Harris was rising, just ready to step into those next 2 years where he really shined. Andrew Sendejo probably had his best year of his career in 2017 pretty easily. And then, you guys remember George Aloka? It's like, oh, Zimmer's guy, George Aloka. Oh, he's Jayron Kearse 1.0. He's the alpha version of Jayron Kearse. It's like, remember him, 6'4" safety from Boise State, all those years with the Bengals and stuff. It's like, oh, here it is. It's going to come. He was brought in mid-preseason, and also Jayron was oddly inactive for the first 2 preseason games, so I thought he was DOA, and then Jayron balled out in that 3rd preseason game. I think it was against Seattle, and then George Aloka mysteriously just sat on the shelf the entire year. It was so weird, but Jayron balled out in 2018. He did take on that big nickel hybrid role, which was probably written originally for George Aloka, but yeah, whatever. But Jayron, he's not a safety. He's not a slot cornerback. He's not a weak side linebacker. He's all those things. He's all those things and none of those things at the same time. Defensively, his snaps jumped up to 203 and 271 snaps respectively in 2018, 2019. And really took on a nice niche role in this defense, especially as offenses are changing. You're starting to see a lot more big slots offensively. You take a 6'4" receiver like a la Larry Fitzgerald, put him in the slot. You take a move tight end, put him in the slot, put him outside, and that's where you put in Jayron. It's great. In 2019, he recorded an 89 overall PFF grade, including 85.1 in coverage, which is best on the Vikings by far, as well as 47.2 quarterback rating when thrown at. Remember, it's like 39.2 or something like that if you just throw into the dirt. That's pretty good. But his quarterback rating when thrown out was lowest on the team as well. Had 23 targets come his way, only 13 receptions, 4 pass breakups, 1 interception, and 0 touchdowns allowed. It's pretty good. Pretty decent. He single-handedly won the Broncos game. The massive, amazing comeback where the Vikings shouldn't have had to have a massive, amazing comeback against a terrible team at home, 20-point halftime deficit. The only reason they won is because Vic Fangio is the only head coach more conservative than Mike Zimmer. But I digress there. Yeah, Jayron was lights out on the last drive of the game. He was amazing. But he was just never one of Zimmer's guys. Like, he and Zim just never meshed, and they were never simpatico. But also, you look around, where was the opportunity going to come from? If you want to be a full-time starting safety, Harrison Smith was at his peak. Anthony Harris was becoming one of the best young safeties in the league. Peak Sendejo 2017, as well as Sendejo bopping around here the last couple of years in spurts. I don't know. So maybe it just was circumstance. But also, you had the DUI gun charge from last year's bye week. He's going to be facing a suspension next year, eventually once the league gets its stuff in order. So I don't know. Also, Diggs is the gold medalist for passive-aggressive cryptic tweeting. Jayron Kearse is pretty solidly silver medalist. Because back in November, he put out, "Excited for my future." And, of course, fans get in there. "Is that future with the Vikings? Not judge." And he's like, "No." This is in November. Like a couple weeks after the DUI and gun charge. It's like, okay, whatever. And then early January this year, he tweeted out, "Wish they appreciated me enough to make me want to come back." So that's pretty clear. I mean, that's actually not cryptic at all. That is pretty blatant that he ain't come back to the Vikings. And Jayron Kearse, for whatever reason, just never got along, which really sucks because I do think that he was starting to come into his own. Do think that he's a very talented kid. Vikings, of course, do have a massive need at safety as well, and I think he would have had opportunity here. And the contract that he signed with the Lions, 1 year, $2.75 million. That is dirt cheap. That is a 1 year prove-it deal off of your suspension. And then if you ball out well, if you can earn a starting job with the Lions, then you can be in line for a big payday a la Anthony Harris. But it just kind of sucks. I mean, in division, Lions get a very good player. Maybe Rocket Man Matt Patricia will actually use him, make him feel wanted. I don't know. Sucks, but whatever. Anyways, your thoughts. Jayron Kearse going to the Lions. Let us know in the comment section below. Also, subscribe for daily Vikings takes. If you want to support the work, pull us up in the Venmo. Plus, give us a follow on social media as well. Also, buy a mug from our friends at Teespring. Vike Flair. Woo! We need to do a Vike Flair video. But until next time, Skull, production value.